Ryan Rishaug alongside Pierre LeBrun getting set for Game 6 of the Stanley Cup Final tonight. Pierre, it's going to be awesome in this building. All the games here at Edmonton have been. And the Florida Panthers for Game 5 wanted to add a little more abrasiveness to their lineup, so in comes Lomberg. That wasn't enough abrasiveness. Now in comes, I don't know, do we call him a villain? How would we characterize Nick Cousins and his role in the hockey ethos?
He might be one of the most popular player in the league in other markets. Am I right?
Yeah.
Am I right? Yeah, Nick Cousins back in and hasn't played in almost a month. May 26th, his last game, Game 3 of the Eastern Conference Final against the Rangers. And as Paul Maurice said, nothing that Cousins did, but they won 6 in a row since then before finally losing Game 4 to the Oilers. Now Cousins comes in. You know, this is a guy that's had some big moments for the Florida Panthers the last couple of years. You may remember he ended the Leafs season in the second round with an overtime goal. I think they would remember it. But the point is, this is a guy that's been counted on with some big roles, and so it's not nothing that Nick Cousins is back in on the fourth line tonight.
So how about the balance, though? Because the Oilers power play is heating up. They're finding it. So you bring in a couple of guys that can play on the edge, that can play abrasive hockey, but you got to also tell them you'll keep it between the lines, between the whistles. You don't want to add all this sandpaper to your lineup and then have them be like sandpaper players are, and you're killing off penalties against a killer power play.
And that's been the fine line that the Panthers have had to try and walk the last couple of years. They've been one of the most penalized teams in the league, and they're in your face. They play an abrasive style, but they can't hand the Oilers 3 to 4 power play opportunities every game in this series and think that nothing's going to happen. The Oilers power play connected for 2 goals in Game 5. If they take penalties tonight, that feeds into what Edmonton does.
Leon Draisaitl is not happy with the way Leon Draisaitl is playing right now. He had a couple of his answers today. There was a lot of accountability there, Pierre, and this late in the game, this big a stage, I think it takes something leadership-wise for a guy to be able to address those questions, handle them with honesty, truly be looking in the mirror, no defensiveness. Yeah, his play probably needs to be a little bit better, but from a leadership standpoint and accountability standpoint, 2 thumbs up for Draisaitl.
Really amazing. His honesty oozes leadership big time. Not every star on this stage in the Cup final, when he's not playing to where he wants, will actually be that comfortable saying, it's on me. And let's be honest, he's not 100%. He's playing hurt. Yeah. And he's the guy all year, as you've reported for us at TSN, that's had to deal with not exactly always having the top options at wing on his line. I mean, he's had to have 17 different combinations or whatever it is, and he's never complained because he knows that that's his role on this team.
It'll be interesting to see what Draisaitl can give them, playing alongside Dylan Holloway and Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. And since Chris Knoblauch made the adjustment and bumped Ryan Nugent-Hopkins down to Leon Draisaitl's wing, balance things out a little bit more. It's made a pretty big difference for the Oilers. You're around this Florida team a fair amount. You've covered them a fair amount, Pierre. You pay close attention to little things, details. We all saw Bill Zito huck the old water bottle in the press box. We saw Paul Maurice post-game and how tense he was. What have you seen from this group over the last couple of days leading into tonight?
So for what it's worth, and I love reading body language. You know that about me. I love to try and get inside their minds. This is a calm Florida Panthers team finally heading into tonight. I thought they were tight after Game 5 for about 24 hours. I didn't like what I was seeing there. I can tell you from talking to people around the organization, they're ready for tonight. Yeah. I think that this is all business for them. They've been good on the road. I think they're in a good place.
Connor McDavid, he was all the talk after the last couple of games. We both agree. I mean, Conn Smythe's probably wrapped up after 8 points in a couple of games.
Regardless of the score tonight.
Regardless of the score tonight. It's another big stage. And this is where McDavid has shown he can really elevate, really be special. He's done it a few games in a row, Pierre. With this home crowd, when they welcome this team back after that win in Game 5, you feel like the stage is set again here for 97 potentially.
How could it not be? He's been unstoppable. It's funny, we were talking to Nick Cousins this morning, and unsolicited, when we asked him about what he's observed from the press box in this series, he just went on and on about Connor McDavid elevating his play. Yeah, and it's
didn't think he could get better, but he did, is what he said.
Which tells you that it's on everyone's mind that what Connor McDavid is doing is not normal, that it's a very select few players in the history of the game that at this stage can elevate to that level. And win or lose, I think we're going to see more of that from McDavid tonight.
It'll be a ton of fun here tonight. We will have tons of pregame coverage as well. Sports Center, 6 o'clock Eastern time. James Duthie will be in town. He'll have the panel. Pierre and I will be back. Craig Button will join us as well. So wall-to-wall coverage before and after the game. Keep it locked on to our station. and to our social media channels as well. As I wrap that smoothly, we'll see you tonight.